What's going on, guys? Ted from Immersion here, and it's time for your, yet again, late D&D weekly update. Sorry I didn't get to do this earlier. There was PAX, but the benefit of being 2 weeks late on the update means there's actually news to talk about. So stay tuned. Alright, so we're just going to jump right in. Things are going to be out of chronological order because, well, they're just going to be because of the way I went through and did this. So, Magic the Gathering released something. Wizards of the Coast posted this. If you want to, and I'll fully confess that I am not a Magic player. I had cards back in the day when they first came out, way over 20 years ago or so. But I never really got into play. I just collected the cards because I thought they were cool. I played a handful of Magic games, but I was never very good at it, and I didn't really understand the rules because I was so young. But that's enough about my history with Magic. So, it looks like if you want to play from Magic's plane of Zendikar, they've actually released, Wizards of the Coast has done Dungeons & Dragons stuff. And I've actually clicked on this. I'm going to download this here so you guys can see. It's also posted on like the D&D homebrew stuff, and I think the Wizards of the Coast Tumblr as well. This is apparently a fairly large file, so while that downloads, we're going to go look at other stuff. Okay, this I can talk about. The survey results are in. Good stuff, as always. The survey results, whether or not they actually get used by Wizards of the Coast, I don't actually know. It always sounds like they're listening, and they did kind of show us a little bit of confidence when they gave the updated version of the Mystic class, which is actually what's part of this survey. It makes me feel like they're listening, and I guess, honestly, if they're not, that's the way to go about it. So, last one was about character expansions, more class options, and things like that. So let's talk about that. In terms of overall content, feats were far and away the most requested new element. Over 70% of you want more feats in your game. I am one of that group. I know there's people that don't like it. They think it bogs down the game. Feats had the least opposition to their expansion. Because we haven't released any products but focused on new feats since the launch of the game, we know there's definitely some pent-up demand for them. But, and this I definitely understand, feats are probably the thorniest element to design for D&D, as they span multiple abilities and can trigger weird interaction that the game's core design can't always count for. As a result, we'll be taking things slowly as we explore options and starting points for new feat development. Again, the fact that we are running, it's been over a half a year and we haven't had new content. We've only had like 2 real content books since the system, 5th edition has been launched. I get it though. The way feats are designed in this one, they are designed to fully impact the game and alter the way you play. Some of them boost your stats. Some of them have weird ability interactions, like something like Shieldmaster or Sentinel. Things like that. They do Sharpshooter and Great Weapon Master. They fundamentally alter the game, and that makes balance very difficult. So I get it. As a desire for more character classes came next behind feats, with spells and races clustered not far behind that. What asked in detail about classes, with the Ranger easily leading the pack. We've been saying this for months. We want more. We want a good Ranger, but we want more Ranger options. Sorcerer and Druid were the most popular choices. Were the next most popular, followed by Fighter and Warlock. I think Sorcerer and Druid could use. I think Druid specifically. Druid's got like the least amount of love as far as new class options, whether it be from the Sword Coast Adventure Guide or Unearthed Arcana. So I do think that Druids need some more love. Fighter, I don't know if I would agree with that. Sorcerer has gotten a couple. Fighter, I feel like, is getting one almost every Unearthed Arcana because superiority dice are so easy to create new options for classes. Warlock also has gotten a bunch of options with the Undying Light Warlock, and the Undying one Warlock as well. But I'd be down. I'd be down for more pacts, honestly, more than actual new patrons. I'd like new pacts other than the Chain, Blade, and Tome. I would like some new pact options. I've seen some cool homebrew ones out there, and those are awesome, but I'd love to see more canonical ones. The rest of the classes were mostly clustered together, with the exception of Wizard and Cleric. Both these classes received much less support for new options, making me suspect that most players would either see additional spells for those classes. Yes, specifically Cleric. Wizards and Clerics have the most base options in the game. in the player's handbook, and they both got a new option in the Sword Coast Adventures Guide. Arcana Domain Cleric being a very good mixture of pulling in some awesome wizard-based content, and Bladesinger potentially turning a wizard into a badass melee character as well, or just fundamentally boosting their defenses when it comes to their spellcasting. Wizards have gotten a fair amount of spells. They did get the cantrips in Sword Coast Adventure Guide. They got spells from Elemental Evil Player's Companion, but clerics have gotten 0. Clerics need more spells. So do paladins, honestly. I would like to see more paladin spells. But that's that. For final insight into the info shared with us, let's take a look at the top 5 races and classes in terms of use in play. Number 1 races: human, elf, half-elf, dwarf, dragonborn. I'm a little surprised at dragonborn, honestly, but human, the variant human with the feet, is pulling ahead in almost every game as it does. With Dungeons and Dragons previous editions, humans was usually the best because it got you extra skills and a feat. Variant human gets you a skill and a feat. And you can use that to kind of get like a +2 in one stat, like wisdom, which you wouldn't normally be able to get. Elf, also solid. Perception off the bat, weapon proficiencies, dex as a bonus. You can get an extra cantrip if you're a high elf. You can get wisdom boost. Drow, probably not so much, but it's an option. Half-elf, clearly a good winner because any charisma-based class, if you're going for stats alone, character optimization-wise, and you're playing a charisma-based class, half-elf is the sure winner. A +2 to charisma, a +1 to 2 other stats, which is huge, 2 skill proficiencies, and an additional language. Plus dark vision and immunity to magical sleep, and advantage on charms. It's big. A common elven, 2 very commonly used in languages, and a 3rd language as well. Dwarf, again, Hill Dwarf is the best one of the best clerics in the game. +2 Constitution helps everything. Hill Dwarfs get a bonus 1 health every level. They also get a +1 to Wisdom. Resistance to poison, dark vision, a stone cunning, which is arguably useful depending on the situation. A kit, brewer's kit, mason's kit, or smith's kit, very useful. And then again, I said resistance to poison damage and advantage on poison saving throws. If you go the other way, you get the +2 to strength, so +2 con, +2 strength, and proficiency in light and medium armor, which is a good way for a caster to get access to that armor relatively easily. Dragonborn, I think, in my mind, is one of the most underpowered races. They don't have dark vision. They don't stack up to something like an elf or a tiefling, honestly, in my mind. Or a dwarf, for that matter, because you might say, like, well, tieflings get fire resistance. Well, dwarves get poison resistance. Poison and fire are the 2 most common damage types in the game. I think a couple of ways you could do it is make the breath weapon a bonus action. The use of the breath weapon is a bonus action. Give them dark vision, or both. I think we'll put Dragonborn in a pretty solid place. Arakra turned out to be least popular of the non-core races. Of the non-core races, the Goliath led the pack, as well as there's a big gap between the Dwarf and the other races that followed, with the Tiefling and a few other races following right on the Dragonborn's heels. Classes: Fighter, Cleric, Rogue, Wizard, Paladin. I'm surprised that Fighter came in 1. But it's easier to understand. Champion and Battlemaster are solid. Paladin just squeaked by Warlock to capture 5th place. However, unlike the races, the classes were much more clustered together. To draw a comparison, the least popular class, the Druid, was just a point or 2 behind the Dragonborn in usage. In addition to assisting with feedback, we asked for the Mystic. Overall, the class rated very well. Otherwise, the class's features all hit our target numbers in terms of satisfaction. So with only 2 elements that need significant work, we're looking to take the class to level 20 and add in more subclasses. Look for that later this year. So, what does that say? Are we going to get an officialized Unearthed Arcana at the end of this year that's going to give us the Mystic? Or are they going to publish some sort of PDF like they did with the Elemental Evil Player's Companion to give us an actual canonical class? Or are they actually going to publish a book that has psionics in it? I don't know. This month's survey, we have questions about the Unearthed Arcana, the DM's Guild, and the Monster Hunter, the Revenant Monster Hunter archetype for the Fighter, and the Inquisitive for the Rogue. So why don't we take a look at the survey? And then after this, I think the stuff for Magic should be done. Have you heard about the Dungeon Masters Guild? Yes. Have you visited? Yes. Have you downloaded? Yes. Overall, I'd say it's very good. Have you used it? Yes. Do you plan to publish? Probably not, just because I don't have the time. Gothic Heroes, would you like to rate the material? Yes. Rate your satisfaction of the Revenant subrace as presented. Overall, I'd say satisfied. Ability score increase. Sure. Relentless nature. It's kind of either way, because that's like, you kind of at the end, you like when you complete your task, you die. So it's really good for a one-shot or a short campaign, but it doesn't make a consistent character. The Monster Hunter. Overall, I'd say it was pretty good. The bonus proficiencies were very good. Combat superiority was okay. Bonus to attack rolls, solid. Damage, saving throws. Wisdom, yeah, it had... I'm just going to go satisfied across the board. And I don't really care about Relentless. And again, I'd be satisfied. The Rogue was just going to go satisfied across the board. Except for that one, because it adds 2d6 to their sneak attack, which is crazy. Any additional comments? No. Well, you just watched me fill out the survey. Did this load? Yes, it did. So, Plane Shift Zendikar for Magic. You're going to have some cool art, first of all. Whole introduction to the system itself. I don't particularly like this setup when they do stuff like this, in the way things are written here. Wizards of the Coast has done stuff like this. I feel like they did one for Destiny, too. Like Destiny races, that was in a very similar format, and I don't like it. I feel like it doesn't jive well with the way classes are designed, especially when homebrew ones are using websites that make it look like actual stuff from the books. I feel like they could do better. So you've got your races of Zendikar. Here's the humans. Your ability scores increased by 1. Doesn't look like there's a variant. Again, I'm not going to pretend to understand this because I'm not a magic guy, so I don't know. I mean, I can figure out what a goblin and an elf is, but like some of these races, I don't know. Zendikar Bestiary. So you're going to have a lot of the different monsters here. I recognize drakes from my time playing Magic, and rats, and dragons. Worms, I remember those as well. And squirrels, I also remember squirrels. And that's it. So there you go. If you want to play a Magic themed game of Dungeons and Dragons, that's where you go. Rudolph von Richten and Esmeralda Devenir. You can go ahead. Limited to 1,500. These Curse of Strahd minis from Gale Force 9. These are a little higher quality. As you can see, there you are. Well, they show you some of the painted ones as well. I have Esmeralda. I got her in the WizKids Monster Menagerie one, as you saw from the one video that's on the channel. But if you want these higher quality ones, these minis here, go ahead and hit up Gale Force 9. The links will be in the description. Matt Monday. This is... what is this? Baba Lasaga's Creeping Hut. This is one of the areas, again, the Matt Monday. Once again, once all the Curse of Strahd maps are out, I don't know what they're going to do on Monday. Again, this is kind of pointless at this point because I missed it. D&D was at PAX East, and they had a lot of cool stuff going on there. High Rollers are on the D&D podcast. There'll be a link in the description if you want to go check it out. Again, Acquisitions Incorporated was at PAX East, which if you missed out, they actually did play a video where they announced that they will be doing, rather than just being at PAX 100% of the time, coming in June, they're going to be doing an actual consistent series. Still starring Chris Perkins, still starring the guys from Penny Arcade. So be on the lookout for that come June. Here's the most recent Matt Monday. Again, this is the Watcher House. Again, like I've said before, if you have Curse of Strahd, these are probably old hat to you. And lastly, a new issue of Dragon Plus was finally released. This is the Secrets of Celebrity DMs issue. You're going to have a lot of stuff from Chris Perkins, a lot of stuff from Matthew Mercer in here. There's a whole article on Dice Camera Action. This is the show that... oh, actually, I'm sorry. It's not... see, that's funny. It's called Dice Camera Action D&D as Entertainment, not to be confused with the Wizards of the Coast stream called Dice Camera Action. So I read through this article. It's grabbing a bunch of people from people that made like Dungeon World and the Misclicks people and Critical Role and stuff like that. How it's impacted the way they play their game, and a couple of tips like making sound. Sound is very important. Start with the audio before you worry too much about your video quality, because I agree, good audio on the game is very important. Players want to hear that. 10 must-play quests in Siege of Dragonspear. This is the Baldur's Gate sequel that is out and live for you to play. This is Tyrants of the Underdark. This is the new D&D board game, and it's a bunch of strategies for that. It's an ad. This is a Barovia-themed kind of RP lore-based thing. This is the Journal of Esmeralda, the character we were just talking about from Curse of Strahd. She's a vampire hunter. Regarding vampire spawn and how to deal with things and things like that. This was, unfortunately, I didn't get a chance to play and or stream, but bringing Chris Perkins and Tabletop Dungeons and Dragons into Neverwinter, which is its own game in and of itself. You can go play an MMO, play a pen and paper game inside an MMO made by Dungeons and Dragons. This is all about how Madame Eva was created on Twitter, as far as like Twitter bots go and things like that, for her to tweet out your fortunes. Monster Menagerie, now available. I would check that out. Again, as always, there's an article about the front cover and the ampersand on the front cover. So this is all about how it was designed and the artist behind it. This is just a repaste of the Gothic heroes Unearthed Arcana we just talked about. The Revenant, the Monster Hunter, and the Inquisitive. You can click right here to get the PDF if you'd like. Let's see. This is interesting. This is Gadolf Blinsky is Valkai's, or Wallachai's, I guess, technically. It's supposed to be like Valkia from Transylvania, which is where Barovia is kind of based off of. Some cool, interesting, creepy plaything toys, fan-created. Macabre Machinations, it's called here. Lazy Eye marble set. Ghost Whistle. Raven Song Music Box. Morbid Molly. The Death Rattle. And a couple other favorites here. I might be throwing some of these into my game as random trinkets to find in various places, perhaps in a haunted place or a desolate town. The Maze Engine is out. Again, I didn't realize this, but you can get the Zendikar thing right here from within Dragon Plus. This is all about the Nightmare Steed for the Gale Force 9 Strahd mini, because he rides a nightmare. So it's all about how they went about sculpting it and designing it. Sage Advice, we have already covered these ones. This is about Packed Blades and sneak attack more than once per round. And then this is a highlight by Mike Merles and Chris Lindsay about some high-quality DM's Guild content. Blood Magic, I have read. It's interesting stuff. Book of Beasts, The Demon Depository, and Battle for the Undersea. I actually own all three of these articles, and I have pulled some stuff, very minor stuff, from Book of Beasts. I'm hopefully, potentially, depending on if the players get to it ever, are not too overpowered, I'm planning on running the whole Battle for the Undercity and in one of the cities that they're going to into Helm's Hold. So if they ever get there, I'll be able to run that, and I'll be able to do a review of it. And Blood Magic is interesting. I don't think it's really for me, though. A whole thing about Ravenloft. Your indispensable Ravenloft guide. We've kind of gone over this already. Dice Camera Action. Inside the art. This is, I think, the April Fool's thing. Spotlight on High Rollers here. Yogg's Cast Regular Chris Trott, aka Trotimus, guest stars on Dice Camera Action in April. And yada yada yada. Next issue. Do we have info on that? Next issue. Here we go. Let's go back. One more. Dragon Plus issue 8. We are as we make like an intern to meet with the founding members of Acquisitions Incorporated. Single beginning, blah blah blah. Be opening mail, fetching drinks. Plus, we'll have more details on the video web series Acquisition Inc. to be clicking off this summer following the announcement at PAX. Also, take a look at She Kills Monsters, a fun new play from. I'm not even gonna try to pronounce her name. We've talked about it before on the channel, though. Releasing in June. Alright, guys, I think that's pretty much it. So, thank you all for watching. Sorry that was a little bit long. Not the longest one I feel I've ever done before. But there's been a lot of videos here on the channel, and there's more to come as I continue to make them. I have a bunch. I have a stockpile list that I'm working on, so be on the lookout for that. So right up here is Know Your Role. What you're going to see right there is I'm trying something new, and I want to get your guys' opinion on it. I've been taking our Tuesday night games and splitting them up into 2 videos. I started with this one, episode number 30. Rather than 1 4-hour session, I want to see how you guys like 2 2-hour sessions. Is that easier to digest? Do you prefer that, or do you prefer just the one thing you can watch straight through? I don't really release them too far apart, so we're talking like a couple days, a day at the most, 2 days, I guess 2 days at the most. Be on the lookout. We did stream yesterday on Sunday. It was supposed to be a 5-hour stream. It turned into a 7-hour stream. So I have 7 hours of video to sift through that I have to edit for the finishing out of our 150 follower goal one-shot. We are approaching 200 subs on, or followers rather, on Twitch. Once we break that, we will be doing a one-shot of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and Other Strangeness, the RPG from the 1980s, as well as resuming a one-shot game of the of that same one-shot that we played on Sunday, yesterday. We'll be resuming that game every 50 followers, so be on the lookout. The game is fun and lethal, and I get to be a player and not the DM. Right in the middle here is my review. I ordered a bunch of Reaper Minis. I've had them before, but I wanted to do kind of a short unboxing and a little review of the quality of those to kind of show you guys what you can look for. And look forward to when getting them, and I highly recommend them. I'm not affiliated with Reaper Minis by any means. I've met some of the folks that work there, and they're super awesome, and their minis are high quality, and they're cheap, especially if you go for the Bones line. So if you're curious about picking some up, you can check this video right here. And as I've been doing with reviewing all of the Gale Force 9 Dungeon Master screens, the video down the bottom there, you can go ahead and click on that to see a review of the Curse of Strahd Dungeon Master screen. I'm not going to spoil too much for you, but it's kind of in the same vein as the Rage of Demons. Well, not so much the Rage of Demons, but the Elemental Evil and the Tyranny of Dragons one. I will point out that one of you lovely viewers out there that commented, and I can't remember your name off the top of my head, but you said, I like to use these just because my players like to look at the art. And I honestly never thought about that, because my players really don't care, and everybody I play with doesn't really seem to care about the art. But I get that, like, having the nice thematic art could definitely help to bring the mood into the game. Especially, like, you're playing in Barovia and you've got a cool-looking vampire guy. You're like, oh, shit, vampires, you know, might help set the mood a little bit more. So that is a good point in favor of the Gale Force 9 screens. Also, you know, kind of a collector's item, I guess, a little bit. But yeah, anyway, guys, that's it. I'll catch you guys tomorrow night, or tonight, I guess, by the time this video actually comes out, for the continuation of Know Your Role. We're episode number 31, as the adventuring group is probably going to leave Greymere Pass, or they already did, and they're heading back. They planted magic beans, and things went kind of hairy. They got one left, so we'll see if they plant that. And they're probably going to head back to Neverwinter, and then eventually back, hopefully, to Helm's Hold, so I can run Battle of the Undercity. Yeah, but be on the lookout for the, probably going to be again in 2 parts, the one-shot that was 7 hours long. But yeah, there's going to be a couple other videos, more 101 style stuff on how spellcasting works, how actions and combat works, and some of the weird quirky stuff with that. Just because I recognize that there's been an issue where I have some friends or I've played in games where people don't really comprehend exactly how some of those things work. So I want to go over those just to kind of give you guys a quick primer, having been with the game for over 2 years at this point, or just shy of 2 years. and having made countless videos and played tons and tons of D&D, I feel like I have a pretty good idea of what to expect and can recognize where people get hung up on different things. So anyway, guys, I hope you have a great week. I'm sorry this came out so late, but you know, PAX and then kind of winding down from PAX and craziness. But yeah, who's excited for Civil War this week? Let me know what you guys think. I'll catch you guys later.